How you doing, guys? Running to the store real quick. Anyways, I had just seen a video on Jim Skeleton's video where he's talking about the market and how some of the prices and stuff are going crazy on some of these knives. Well, of course, any kind of market is going to see fluctuation like that. One time, people were paying big money for Beanie Babies in Pokemon cards. It's like anything. Is it a fad? Or is it something that's going to stay? I mean, it depends on how you define it. Are these big tactical custom knives, are they just tools? Are they fancy tools? Or are they art? And that's where it gets tricky because they're a blend between both. I mean, that's why we're all attracted to the hobby. Or I think. I mean, it's one of the big reasons because it blends so many different things. You've got a tool, the science. I've already done a video on that. Anyways, there's just so much stuff going on that it's not just a tool, it's an art piece at that point. Or at least that's why they're commanding at the price they do. Of course, like any kind of market, you're going to see fluctuation. So I guess we'll see how long some of these knives will stay up to where they're at. And truth be told, I don't know. I mean, I've been around almost 10 years. I remember when people start flipping the custom hand ground XM18s for double, triple what they were. And then he went in the Generation 3 and was outsourcing some. I think it was Generation 3 when they turned into mid-techs because they were all custom before that. Rick Hinder, every part was hand-produced in-house, and all the blades were hand ground and everything like that. So anyways, to the people who just buy knives and flip knives, man, I don't know. That's a tricky subject because that's not the makers doing that. That's the aftermarket. And I'll tell you, if I'm a wannabe maker, I want to keep raising my stock, right? Of course, RJ Martin, of course, Ernest Emerson knows that his knives go for 3 or 4 times the price that he sells them for at his lottery. Rick Hinder knows that. They're not dummies. They're around just like we are, especially on their knives. They know what's going on. But they choose to keep pricing them at the way they do. I guess they feel they turn enough profit on them. And if you have the aftermarket going crazy over your stuff, I mean, really, that's job security. I mean, that's how I look at it. But of course, you know, I'm not in that world yet. Hopefully one day it'd be nice to be. But anyways, that's just some of the stuff that I've seen in the past 10 years or so is that's so much of the aftermarket is a little bit volatile, and it was like that with paramilitary 2s, like that with the Southern, some of these new ZTs, any factory limited run like that, the Spyderco Sprint runs are still turning good money. Is that a fad? I don't know. 5 years later, S90V military is probably still pulling $3 to $4 to $5 to $600. I don't know. But certainly they have more than doubled the MRSP, however you say that, manufacturer, you know. So it's, I don't know. I don't know. If people are willing to pay it, that's what it's worth. I mean, that's really, really what it is. So that's my thoughts on it. Is it good that people are in it just to turn a profit? Probably not. I mean, really, are they the scumbags? Not really, but, you know, it's really not right if you're not really in the collector realm and you're really, like, putting together a collection for yourself. But then again, I mean, that's what people do. It's a capitalist economy, right, where you just see an opportunity and take it. I don't think it necessarily makes him a scumbag, personally, because I sold all my hand-ground XM18s for more than I paid for them. I'm happy out of the deal. Hopefully Rick Hinder is happy. I mean, he sold his knives. People were waiting on the list to sell them. The person who bought them from me, in turn, were able to go around and flip more money back on that. The person who paid them for it I hope they were happy when they got the knife. I mean, it was the same exact knife from when I had it, from when, you know what I mean? All that money's been made on it, and I think everybody's pretty happy, you know? So if you don't want it, you just don't buy it. It's that simple. And if there's people out there who are willing to spend that kind of money, they want to spend 5 or 6,000 on a Southern, I wouldn't. I've got a few friends who have, I guess what you would say, a little bit of fun money, and they're not willing to pay it. And I guess because some of those folks, just like a lot of us folks, probably 99% of us, look at our knives as useful, artful tools. And that's the difference, because when somebody starts looking as an investment or maybe an art piece, there's no limit on art, right? Is a Pollock worth what they go for? I mean, somebody's willing to pay for it, so it is. But technically, is the skill level there? I know nothing about art. Maybe it is. But from what I see, it just looks like a bunch of splashes on canvas. So, you know, when you get into art, that's real subjective and can vary wildly. And then one day, a certain thing could go for a certain amount of money, and then 2 days later, you know, if the right person's not right there, and who knows? I mean, I see XM18s going for, gosh, I seen one go the other day for almost 450. You know, so obviously the market has went from $800 down to 450. So the market will work its way, level. It'll level itself out at some point. I think on some of these higher end knives, Brad Southard and the Todd Rexfords, and you know the other big names, Jim Burke. Who's the other guy who makes the mini skirmish? Neil Blackwood, stuff like that. You know, supply and demand. I think Neil Blackwood is a part-time maker. He might, I don't even want to put a number on it, but I guess if I had to guess, it's probably under 50 knives a year. So, of course, his knives, if you want one and you can't get on his list, there's no telling what the aftermarket might bring on any given day. And I think that's what you'll see on some of these knives. You know, is it right or wrong? Is it right that somebody would go to the lottery, bring all their kids, all their family, their brother, their sister, they got 10 tickets in a lottery for Brad Southard or whatever, and then in turn buys that knife for what, $800 or $1,000, whatever they go for, and then turns around and sells it for $5,000? Yeah, it's kind of slimy. Kind of slimy. But then again, a collector could do the same thing. Oh, I just so happen to win. Now I got to decide, do I like this knife enough to not make $4,000 on it? You know? And maybe, I've said this probably 4 years ago with the XM18, maybe the makers should charge more. Maybe if they see their knives are doing $4,000 on the aftermarket, maybe they should charge $3,000. Sounds crazy, but if that profit, I feel personally that the dealer should not make as much profit as the knife maker. Putting the blood, sweat, tears, all of their sleepless nights into their design, everything in perfecting everything about the knife, inside, outside, fit and finish. Does it flip? Is everything centered up? You know, what kind of bearings am I going to use? Do I custom make my own bearings? I don't think the dealer that just puts in its money up, to buy the knives should make as much profit as the maker. That's just myself, though. And I think a lot of folks are feeling the same way. Sitting over here, I got to run in here and get this red box. The old lady and I have a movie to watch, The Conjuring. We'll see how that goes. But anyways, random, huh? But the maker just kind of puts his money up as, I don't know how to say it. I feel like if the maker was getting most of the profit, then that knife going for $5,000-$6,000, it's a lot of money for a piece of steel that only opens and closes. But then again, if you look at it as art, to say worth it or not, I mean, obviously it is worth it if it's selling for what it's selling for. So I don't know. I kind of talked around in a circle, but that's just some of my thoughts on how I feel on it right now. Of course, that could change if I become a knife maker in the next 5 years or whatever. Maybe something will dawn on me that I've never seen before as an outsider right now. Just kind of viewing over the whole market about the past 10 years or so. So, anyways, I think it'll all level itself out, and maybe in a few more years you'll see the true worth of some of these knives. And I gotta be honest, I think there's gonna be some that will not go down. I honestly don't feel like a Brad Southern will ever be like $800. Like, there's just because supply and demand. If he's only able to perfectly produce even 50 to 80 knives a year, that's a very limited supply compared to the whole world. Even folks from all over the world. I mean, I personally deal with folks from Russia and Romania and all over the world. So the market is huge as far as people wanting the work, right? And if you only put 80 units or 100 units out there a year, there's no telling what they could bring. And I don't think that's going to come down. What I think you'll come down, and this is no slam to anybody, is some of the styles that seem to be in fad right now, which is the thicker and thicker and thicker and thicker blade stock, the thicker and thicker frame locks. To me, that's a whole nother video. I like my overbuilt knives, but there's a certain point where everything is a compromise, and sometimes you can get too thick and too impractical. They don't cut well. Your geometry can't even be right. It's for another video. But anyways, I think you'll see the market change as far as build styles. Maybe not as so fat and so thick and so overbuilt. And maybe start blending like an art knife with a true EDC piece. If I can ever set myself up to where I will be able to custom make a frame lock folder, it will be trying to blend those two, art and style, but also with a practical, real usable design. And to be honest, Brad Southern stuff is doing that right now, and I think that's why. And he's also got a hell of an eye for design, and that's why you're seeing some of his knives just through the roof. I mean, really, because at that point they are useful art, So, anyways, I'm gonna get out of here. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the video. I know it's long, kind of random. I gotta get back, and we're gonna chill out and watch a movie tonight. That's it, guys. See ya.